this is kind of funny, and it's a really good example of why you really need to be ready for anything at the start of a race. Clutch in, gear up, throttle, full throttle, ease off the clutch, release. I'm hearing like static in my left. Whoa! Oh my god. Sorry guys, that car did not move.
Yeah, my bad. Car literally.
That car just failing to get off the grid, and I lose 3 positions after turn 1 because of that. And we actually go 3 wide into turn 1 as well.
I saw that, so I was able to avoid you luckily.
Oh, how many positions did I lose because of that car? Big accident behind me there, and during the race I was actually wondering if I had a hand in that, just going too slow into that corner. But after watching the replay, it looks like the car on the inside clipped the outside car, so it really had nothing to do with me. I was a bit relieved at the end of the race just watching that. Now here I almost get a run at these guys, but I felt like I didn't quite have enough of a speed to overtake them, so I decided to be safer to just back off. In the next turn though, I do take the initiative and get on the inside left of the orange car, and the car ahead of me on the right actually spins out and takes him out, unfortunately for him. So I kind of caught a bit of a break there. Ah! Oh my god! My reaction seemed a bit delayed there, but I think I was actually reacting to what I was seeing in the mirror. Gonna get these tires warmed up. I was leaning in my seat there. I think it made me go faster. Gave me some extra grip. So to prepare for this race, I did something a little different because I'm new to this track and I really have no experience racing on it other than one Porsche race, I think, which went horrible. I qualified almost dead last. I decided to focus on qualifying this week rather than just running laps. I decided to just run 3-lap stints, and I'm always driving the car on cold tires, both to learn the track and to get accustomed to driving the car on qualifying laps where the car isn't fully warmed up yet. And I think it really helped me. I was a little intimidated by this track, not knowing it very well. As you can see, I'm not carrying quite as much speed through the corners as I probably could be. Sometimes I might be in a lower gear than I should be. And I did learn quite a bit just from doing 2 or 3 races this week on the track. I put some distance from the guy behind me, but the cars in front have draft advantage and are quite close together.
Come on.
I'm gonna be real, I feel like we didn't even touch.
So I guess the main takeaway from racing this track, I think it's pretty obvious. It's to maintain maximum speed through the corners. This is not a very powerful car. You can't exactly just, power out of the turns. You need to really maintain a median speed, like a good median speed. I guess momentum is what I'm trying to say. Keep your momentum up around the corners. Use all of the track, even though the track margins are quite strange on this track. It feels like where you need more margin on the around the edge of a track on track exit,
Let's
you
get
don't
some
have it, and then the turns
visual
where you
stutter
don't
through
need
this
more track
section.
or track off
It's quite
on exit, you
distracting.
do get it. So it is quite strange the way the track is set up, but that is the main takeaway. And you know, I was racing like I was doing 206s, 207s. I think the first lap I tracked was a 208. And you're just like, how can I get faster on this track? But you could just go so much faster than you realize if you maintain your momentum with this car. And I think I was getting down into the 204s. I know it's still not particularly fast, but I mean, it's still a great improvement from where I started on a track I was actually considering not driving at all this week. It's important to get into the races you're hesitant about. Actually, more important, because you need to overcome that learning curve, I guess. The more races you do, the faster you'll learn the track and get up to speed with other people. It seems like people just are instantly fast, where I really have to put the work in. I don't know, maybe that's just my imagination. Maybe they have more free time. Oh, and the other thing is that the trick or the idea to practice just the qualifying laps in particular. So just run 3-lap stints. That helped me immensely. It helps on lap 1. It helps in qualifying. Just getting real accustomed to driving the car when the tires are not fully warmed up. You drive a sloppy version of the car.
I missed a gear.
It's oversensitive. It doesn't do exactly what you want. It turns in more sharply when you're braking. That throws you off, and it oversteers on exit, and you're carrying more slip angles, all that stuff, all that good stuff makes it just a handful early on. But if you just run those 3-lap stints, which is pretty much what I did I think 2-hour sessions before my first race, and was real uncomfortable with the track. Felt like I got a lot faster by the time that was over. Yeah, I'm going to keep doing that because that definitely helped me. Well, I just went and looked at my race results from this week. I only did 3 races, and my results were actually 6, 6, and 5. And that kind of surprised me. I'd forgotten I'd done that well. But yeah, that's pretty damn good for a track I have no experience on. So that kind of reiterates what my my theory was, that running those qualifying laps really helped me. So unfortunately I opened the door up for this car behind me. He's able to get by me, but whatever. It works in my favor anyway, because going down the straight into turn 1, he blows his braking and actually takes out himself in another car, so I get 2 positions because of that. And he claims that, I don't know, his monitor fell off his desk or something. I don't know what happened there, but that is unfortunate.
God, I'm sorry, man. My TV fell. Fuck. Yeah, man, my TV literally just fell on top of me.
Ah, that's too much. It's almost course cutting there. Damn it.
Ah, fantastic. Bjornstad, you saw that, right? I think that was the,
I saw it.
So for this section here, it really does look like I'm driving well. And there's a few ways I can tell by looking at myself how I'm driving. It's how precise the steering inputs are, how precise and quick the corrections are.
I'm getting faster,
There's
but
not
so
a lot
is
of
everyone
overcorrecting. There's just enough. Also, like how awake or how alert I look. Like are my eyes kind of like, you know, tired looking? Are they puffy? All those things. And just do I look like I'm enjoying it? Because usually if I look like I'm enjoying it, I'm probably doing better. So I think it was actually driving at a pretty decent level.
Oh, come on, you don't. How do I get an off track for there? Seventh would be nice. See how leaning in your seat just makes you go faster? Ah. There's 6 laps left. That's such bullshit. How about a little lateral grip there? So much for having a cleaner race.
Trying to pressure you into that.
Oh, not as Bjorn?
What is that? Every time I get a fucking fast lap.
So I'm not quite sure if I like this track yet. One of the things I did notice that there was a lot of contact between other cars, and the irony there is that this track is actually really wide and has a lot of room. You can almost go 4 wide through a few of the turns, but I didn't really find it that difficult to avoid contact, although I did get lucky quite a few times, and this was another instance here. Yeah, it just really felt like I had a really good string of luck on this track. It seemed like every time a car would crash or spin out near me, I was able to get by without too much trouble.
He must have really bad damage if he pulled over like that. He's pitting. Damn. That actually scared me a little bit. I didn't know which way to go. Come on, let's see what we got here. Nice. Why does it always miss fucking shifts at the end of the lap? I mean, wow, the wonders of a fucking clean shift. Fastest lap ever. Man, it's so stuttery through here.
On the last lap, I do remember getting a little bit loose in one of the turns and having to kind of catch the car, but it wasn't that bad.
No! No! Not happening, buddy.
But yeah, despite driving this car for a long ass time, I still feel like from time to time it really seems like the car's trying to kill me.
The whole race of it trying to get closer to the curb, and then I literally get on the curb and almost die. Well done, Craig.
Dead last, end of lap 1 to my car number, I'll take it.
There's a hell of a lot of crashing going on for how wide this track is.
got assaulted by one man twice.
So this is the second race that I recorded, and it looks like in this one I actually qualified 5th and had a more competitive start, only to be punted off the track. I think I was slowing down for a car that was spinning. I wasn't sure which way to go, and then I just got rear-ended right off the track. And then managed to come back to 6th, but wasn't really able to fight for a top 5 position because of that crash.
I don't know about these two, man. Ahead of me here. Thanks a lot.
So it's tough to really say what I could have done better there.
Wow, that's a big one,
If I
wasn't it?
absolutely knew exactly what that car was going to do, I could probably get around it a lot easier. But it looks like I was slowing to kind of observe the car, and ultimately I was probably going to go left, but I just didn't get a chance to do that before I kind of got punted.
Liam, you got a mic?
So yeah, I was pretty annoyed there, but I actually made out better than a lot of other people because a ton of people, I think, pit on this lap. And by the end of the lap, I was only in 9th place. So I think I dropped from 5th or 6th to 9th ultimately after lap 1. So not too bad of a hit considering. I think, like me, a lot of other people were just learning this track. It is the first time it's ever been in the Skip Barber schedule. It's essentially brand new for this season. And yeah, there did seem to be a lot of contact considering how wide the track actually is.
Do you have much damage, Abraham?
This track is also basically like smooth as glass. There's no imperfections in the road surface anywhere, so you don't get any vibration. Just everywhere you drive on the track is basically just smooth. But yeah, it's actually kind of odd to drive on because most tracks have a lot more they have a lot more imperfections in the road surface that you can feel in the wheel and in force feedback. But there are a few tracks like this. I'd say like Suzuka's pretty smooth. Circuit of the Americas is a lot like that. It's pretty much smooth everywhere. But you know, some of the F1 circuits have that like perfect surface, perfect driving surface. I don't really like it though personally. I prefer my tracks to have a lot more character, and I actually like imperfections. I like the bumps, but that's just me.
The car in front of me is getting towed quite effectively on the straight, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to catch those two. Looked like I was closing in on them quite a bit, but then we got to the front stretch here, and they pulled away from me.
So at some point I noticed I was turning a lot more into this left-hand turn, like almost crossing my hands over. And I noticed it was a bit faster, so I was really taxing the front tires. But it seemed like on all my faster laps I tended to be doing that, so...
I can see them down the end of the road there.
And then I got just a nice little slide on the exit of this corner. It seemed like it was better to keep it in 4th gear there most of the time.
Oh man, let's get some. Go, go, go. Closing in on them again, but I suspect they were fighting each other through there.
Now, don't ask me how long I've been driving this car, because it's actually embarrassing. But I've been able to see so many different iterations of this car
Much
and
better
just
lap.
little tweaks that iRacing
Much,
has
much
done
better.
to it. But it really seems like they have the car
9 laps
just
left.
dialed in almost perfectly. And I don't remember how long ago the last update was. It might have been a year or two. But whatever they did on the last update, the car just... It basically just became nearly perfect. In terms of a car you can drive on the limit and just get the perfect slip angles. Like the way the replays looked before the last update and after, there was like a stark difference. Like the cars just looked amazing. Going around a track like Lime Rock Park, when you have the last turn, the downhill right-hander, and the car is just slip angling
fucking
all
hate
the
that.
way down the hill and right to the exit onto the curb, and it just looks beautiful. And there was an interesting conversation I overheard in one of my last races. I guess the guy that got second place in the race I was in was talking about how he'd just been to a new race training center where they've kind of refurbished all these old Skip Barber cars, and he was saying like everything that he does or did in iRacing before he went to the race school translates almost perfectly to the actual real world car. So the only real difference was the fact that you can't left foot brake, obviously, in a Skip Barber because of the steering column. Yeah, you can't left foot brake. You have to actually drive it with your right foot for gas and brake. But other than that, he said just in terms of just throttle inputs and the slip angles that you carry when you're really going fast, he says it's basically like it's basically perfect now. And I believe him. I honestly do. Just by how this car looks in the replays, it's probably one of iRacing's most important cars, just for simulating what it's like to drive a race car. I don't know if that translates across the entire service. I know iRacing's got a bad rap in the past, and you know, kind of justifiably so, for some of the claims they've made for realism, when you also have these real world drivers jumping on iRacing
turn
during
one.
COVID and just complaining, oh, but you know, the car's, it's too hard to drive. These professional race car drivers just bitching that iRacing's too hard and the car spins out. But you know, whatever they did in the last update, man, they fucking nailed it, and it seems like they're dialing all the cars in recently. I did a power slide in the Mustang a couple weeks back. You know, just kept my foot in it the whole way, and in previous versions of the game years ago, you could never do that. If you got the Mustang a little overcooked, you were dead. You literally could not save it. but I just counter steered naturally, and just brought the car back without losing too much speed. It was like, oh, you can do that now. Okay. So yeah, iRacing's really improved quite a bit. It's taken a long time, but you see it. You see it in the replays. You see it in what you can do with the car when it gets over the limit. It's taken a while, but they've gotten there, and I've had faith in iRacing that they would. You're kind of investing in something that's a work in progress. I know that doesn't work for everyone, but in the meantime, the racing's always been great, even when the cars weren't perfect, even when the tires weren't perfect. At least on the road side, for me, the racing's always been good, regardless of what the tire model was. So.
Not making a ton of progress here. Close within 5.4 seconds of them by the end of the lap. I mean, if this went on forever, eventually I'd catch them, but... frame rate is so bloody horrible through there.
Oh, it's my first off track. Fuck, take the spot. Take it. Take it. Pissed with myself.
They're having a bad lap, and I just had my best lap, or so far my best lap.
It's kind of hard to explain why I keep coming back to this car. Initially, I always just kept racing it because it was the most convenient. This series has always been every hour at quarter after. So if you wanted to, you could race this track at any time of the day.
2.8 seconds is like,
if you're busy in the evening, you don't know if you're going to get on at 7:15. Maybe you don't get on until 9:15.
Barely getting into drive.
You just don't know. So it's a series that you can kind of just jump into at any time. The other thing is it's always seemed kind of pure. Like the racing's always seemed kind of pure, and especially now where the tire model is so dialed in, it really feels like you're really just racing and driving on the tires. And the car does have a slight bit of downforce, but even if you lose one of your wings, like the front or rear wing, you don't feel it that much, so it's not really providing a huge amount of advantage. And it really does seem like it's 90% the tires and just the skill of driving the tires. Looks like I strung a few good laps together, and I was actually able to catch these two guys ahead of me before the end of the race.
Now they're slowing each other down quite a bit. lean for that extra grip. Don't forget that. No, I'm pushing him to want to pass the other guy.
I think I really need to force myself to go faster and drive to my potential, because I think my laps at the start of this week, I know I wasn't that familiar with the track, but I was doing like 208s, and I should really know what the limit of the car is. I was able to get that down to the high 204s with a lot of practice, but yeah, there's just this massive gap where it's almost like I don't know how fast I can go. And sometimes during the races, I almost don't drive to my potential unless somebody makes me angry. And then I have this incredible race afterwards. But it's just so hard to get in that mindset. I have a tendency to relax and kind of take it easy. And I need to figure out how to get into that mindset. And also, just generally speaking, force myself to drive faster.
And he's sliding all over the place and I still can't catch him. Let's go, man. Let's go for another pass attempt here. He might be just slightly out of range.
Gotta get those fundamentals down.
Yeah, the 1X would kill me here.
This guy goes off in front of me, and
I'm
yet
like
again I
half a
get lucky
second
and I'm able to get
slower
by
on
without issue.
Almost every single lap. Is the track pretty hot?
I'm at 91.
I just spun off. God damn it! Just gave me an infinite point. Fuck. I hate this tracking incident. You are completely correct with that. It's fucking horrible.
And I'm not crazy about it either.
I only got 2 X's on this race. That's a win for me.
Yeah, I have like 6 or 7 off tracks.
And 2x, 2 corners from the finish line. I managed to spin. Now I have a 3x.
Someone did punt me off the road, but I had 4x after that, so I think I got 4 off tracks. I don't really like the track margins. They're just confusing. Like one corner you have all this off track you can use, and then the next corner you don't. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it is really confusing. I'm just kind of scared of every single exit. I just kind of stay away from them all. I definitely got 3 off tracks this time.
It seems like the corners where you don't need more space, you get it, and the corners you do, you don't.
Did you guys see the rules tab where they show all the different turns? That's new.
Say what now?
After you head back to your, after you leave the car, go to the tab on the left that says rules and take a look at the pictures.
Well, I did not notice that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think trial and error is the only real way to learn track limits.
Exactly.
Abraham, I'll answer for Mike. Practice, practice, practice. Track wasn't really that hot, 92. Nah, Abraham, setup is nothing. Set your bar at 55%. Springs, 5 is fine for this track. And then, there's an anti-roll bar at the bottom. Do that one at, what is it, 8?
Yeah, the setup isn't huge.
Well, if you got this far in the video, thanks for watching. The next track up is going to be Laguna Seca, and I think I managed to get 5 races in on that track, and I recorded at least 3 of them. So when I get a chance, those will be uploaded, or at least a summary of those races, and check those out when they're up. Thanks again.